Sporting action now on BBC One as we catch up on the day's events and match of the day with Desmond Lynham.
Good evening. Tonight's lottery jackpot of 19 million would just about buy you Andy Cole, Alan Shearer and Chris Sutton. You might have enough left over for a cup of tea and a bun, but as the top man says...
Yeah, it's easy to spend the money when it's no yours.
Now, last Sunday, Shearer and Sutton were in sparkling form in Blackburn's cup tie at Newcastle. Tonight we'll see them again as the league leaders took on Nottingham Forest and their prize asset, Stan Collymore. That bargain buy, Jurgen Klinsmann, had only managed this goal in 9 games. Could he add to his total as Spurs took their unbeaten run of 10 games to West Ham? That's our other main match. And just what the Premiership's newest manager, George Burley, would have wanted right after a cup defeat at Wrexham. A nice, easy visit to Anfield to face Liverpool, unbeaten in 11. As usual, we have all the other Premiership goals. And the footballing wisdom of Trevor Brooking. Right, we start at Ewood Park. Blackburn with a 3-point lead at the top against 4th place Nottingham Forest. Blackburn looking for a double here, having won 2-0 at the City Ground in October. The commentary comes from John Motson.
So Blackburn's Chris Sutton is relieved of the tag that until this week made him the most expensive player in the country at £5 million. Stan Collymore looked for a while as though he might have such a label pinned on him, but for the moment he stays with Nottingham Forest. And after this week's events, the value of Alan Shearer is anybody's guess, but for the time being he looks like a bargain at £3.3 million. But Blackburn's expensive resources are really stretched today. They're without Tim Sherwood, who's suspended, Stuart Ripley and Graham Lasso, both injured. So Alan Wright starts for the first time this season at left back. Robbie Slater comes in on the right and Paul Warhurst moves into centre midfield. Nottingham Forest are also without their England left back Stuart Pearce, who, like Lasso, picked up a training injury. So, with Colin Cooper suspended, Carl Tyler plays his first game of the season and Alf Inge Haaland switches to left back. And happily recovered from his appendicitis operation, the Blackburn manager Kenny Dalglish. Well, these are exciting times at Blackburn. They've got an FA Cup replay against Newcastle coming up on Wednesday. Then they play Manchester United. It's all happening, and the chance today to go 6 points clear in the Premiership. Colin Hendry is the captain in the absence of Tim Sherwood. Forest are wearing black shorts today and playing from the right. Little. Second chance to cross it. There's Wone. Now it's David Phillips. His ability to shoot from distance well known to supporters of his previous clubs as well. But it was safely held. Hendry. He loves that pass out to the right wing. Now, here's Shearer. Tyler's got to get close to him here. He didn't. Good save. And the save from Crossley took the ball away from the player running in, who was Wilcox. Here's Wright. Warhurst, it's opened up in front of him here. Hits Haaland. And now it's Collymore. Well, that was the first moment of danger from Blackburn. Shearer finding a little bit of space away from Carl Tyler. Well, you get the feeling something's going to come from Atkins or Warhurst. They're getting some good space in that midfield. This is Berg. Now it's Slater. Berg coming forward again, Sutton. Oh, it's Chettle who played it straight to Wilcox and had to recover. That's in by Wright. Chettle gets up first. Well, it's looking more and more as though these two central midfield players are going to be important today for Blackburn. Mark Atkins hit that superbly. He and Warhurst are just sitting behind the strikers and getting space. And when the ball comes out off a defender's head like that from Chettle, it's an open invitation. What a lovely strike, and what a good tip over by Mark Crossley. It's been played back to Berg. Chris Sutton at the far post. Shearer. The pair of them still there. Hendry is forward here. And suddenly, look at that ball from Collymore. Good vision. Scott Gemmell, Roy and Collymore in the centre. And he stumbled into the second tackle. And the chance went. But that's classic Forest counter-attacking. Here's Shearer. Couldn't put it in the path of Atkins, but he's found Warhurst. Now Slater. And Wilcox continued his run on this side. They're waiting on the far side. Shearer, Atkins and Sutton lined up in there. And here comes Sutton. Good header out. Very good header by Des Little. He's injured, but play goes on. And Paul Warhurst backing up. Well, I think it would have been a goal. The referee didn't see fit to stop the play, although there was an injured Forest defender, Des Little, lying on the 6-yard line. So had that gone in, we might have had a bit of a debate. It's a good strike by Warhurst. He's curled it away from Crossley and just away from the post. Here's Sutton. Atkins. This is Wright. Wilcox. Warhurst. Berg. Here's Warhurst again. Oh, yes! Warhurst's shot went straight through. It may have taken a slight deflection off a Forest player. But Warhurst, it was who struck it from distance. It's caught Tyler, and may well be recorded as an own goal. I don't know. The way they change scorers these days in the Premier League, some weeks later, we'll have to wait and see. But Nottingham Forest fall behind. Warhurst shot, and Carl Tyler, back in action today, for the first time this season at senior level, has the misfortune to change the path of the ball and give Crossley no chance. And here's Stan Collymore. Forest looking to him now to lead a recovery. This is Stone, who's probably been their best attacker. today. Collymore again. I think Hendry's relishing this challenge against Collymore. Stone. Little. Collymore's coming in behind them all. Well, there's no free kick given, and I don't think Hendry or Flowers would have been terribly pleased if that had squeezed in. But as it is, Blackburn are back on the attack. This is Wilcox. Oh, good defending, Haaland. Against Shearer. I've seen Shearer score from there many times. The left back did ever so well to get in on the cover. Here he is again, Haaland. Nice turn by Wone, and here's Phillips. It's Stone now. There's the cross by Des Little. Now, Collymore has sneaked on the other side of Hendry, and he did well to get a header in from there, didn't he? Corner to Forest. Chettle's in the heart of that, but Blackburn had pulled everybody back to defend, and they're still in a long line there. Little. Here comes Tyler again. And a tip over by an acrobatic Tim Flowers from Carl Tyler. Very keen to level the score in more ways than one, but anyway, Forest pressing here. Chettle's up as well, so is Haaland. Uncanny how often Shearer's the player who clears from corners when he's doing his defensive bit. He seems to know where to stand. Here's Chettle. In it goes by Phillips. Wone. And here's Gemmell. And Haaland, and another deflection. Well, that could have gone in off the defender as well. Berg and Hendry threw themselves at the shot. And Forest have a corner. In fact, it's their third in quick succession. Tyler again. And Shearer again. Good play. Hendry trying to open it out to Slater. Chettle covering. A booming kick again from Mark Crossley towards Collymore. And he's penalised. Well, there's the Carl Tyler header, and Flowers just does the necessary. This is Slater. Berg, Slater again, only Shearer in the middle at the minute. Sutton's out here on the right. That's his cross. Wilcox is now in the centre too. There he is. And Shearer! Oh! Well, good save. Everybody's human. And Shearer proves it. What a good stop by Mark Crossley, but what an opportunity for Blackburn to go 2-0 clear. It's a suspicion of offside perhaps, is it? But anyway, the header back in. Shearer's volley, but look, it was straight at the goalkeeper. Well, what weather conditions we've got here now. Warhurst tucks it through to Shearer. Oh, he's got Wilcox running on. Oh, and good defending again by the left-back Haaland. Had an absolutely outstanding game, especially when he's come in to cover the central defenders. Chris Sutton working hard on the right-hand side. Oh, he's found Jason Wilcox! It's 2! And a goal well taken by Wilcox, but nicely carved out by Chris Sutton, who shows he's not just a goal scorer. Look at that accurate pass with the inside of the foot. It split the whole defence, and Wilcox comes in from the other side to tuck it in. Good stuff from Sutton. And if they're caught really, Forest, they haven't tracked Wilcox's run, and he makes it 2-0 with about 12 minutes to go. This is Collymore. That's his best effort of the afternoon. He hasn't had a chance to test Tim Flowers except with one header till then. Got Shearer and Sutton waiting, and Wilcox. Berg backs up. Wilcox going across to help the build-up. Atkins. Sutton's on this side now. Oh, it's gone in off the defender. It's 3-0. Chettle couldn't keep it out. Well, that does settle it now. Chris Sutton with the header. Steve Chettle on the line. 3-0 Blackburn. Atkins cross. Sutton's header away from, well, that I think has to be an own goal, doesn't it? And Blackburn Rovers go 6 points clear in the FA Carling Premiership. And Kenny Dalglish, back from appendicitis, witnesses what in the end was a comfortable victory. It's Blackburn Rovers 3, Nottingham Forest 0, and it's over to you, Manchester United.
You spent £5 million on a striker. Somebody's now gone and spent the equivalent of £7 million. Have you got any views on the way the transfer market is escalating?
Yeah, it's easy to spend the money when it's not yours.
When Andy Cole was signed for £7 million, did that raise your eyebrows?
No, I mean, what goes between the two clubs, in this case Newcastle and Manchester United, it's got nothing to do with me, really. I think it was just a shock that nobody knew that, you know, what was in the offing with Andy. But really my situation is that I'm at Nottingham Forest, and that's the end of it, really.
Transfers are part and parcel of football. If they weren't, I'd never come to England. So, as I say, where it stops, I wouldn't know. But as I say, it's just a case of, I suppose, of supply and demand. But as the value of Andy Cole goes to £7 million, then everybody else's value goes up accordingly.
I was going to say, Shearer's looking a bargain now, isn't he?
Shearer's as good as gold, and he always has been, and he always will be. And every one of them are exactly the same. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they cost, it's what you get in return. And we've been absolutely delighted with everybody that's come here.
Well, that victory seemed to underline the strength of the Blackburn squad today, Trevor.
Well, they played very well second half, but I mean, without Ripley out wide, of course, who's been very impressive this season, Sherwood, the captain, in the middle, and Lasso, who gets forward so well, you'd have thought they might have struggled, but the lads who came in did very well. I forgot all about Alan Wright, the little left back. Ian Pearce has done well. They allowed Paul Warhurst to go into the centre. Robbie Slater gave them the balance on the right-hand side, and certainly second half did well.
Now, Warhurst and Sutton will want to claim those goals, I suspect, but how did you see it? Were they own goals?
I think they own goals. I mean, certainly the first one, Paul Warhurst, I mean, he hit the shot from outside the penalty area, and you see poor old Carl Tyler back in the side as a swing and completely deflects it right into the corner. There's no way that would have beaten Mark Crossley if it had just been left alone. It's just one of those unfortunate things for the defender. The second one, you know, Sutton heads it back across, and of course Steve Chettle knows Shearer's behind him, not sure if the goalkeeper's going to get a touch, caught in two minds, it hits him and again diverts it into the net, and I think unlucky for the two Blackburn players, but two OGs for me.
We spent a lot of time talking about Blackburn's big signings, but I know a couple of their other players caught your eye, especially today.
Well, in a week when you've seen all this transfer market go even more haywire, I mean, two players. Mark Atkins is the first one. I think, 6 or 7 years ago, they picked him up from Scunthorpe for 45,000. And I mean, he's just sat in that anchor's role, isn't he, in midfield this season? But he's got 1 or 2 vital goals just before Christmas from the edge of the penalty area. And look at that touch from Mark Crossley. I thought he was going to get on the score sheet again there. But it is that role that David Batty did so well last season that's been so important for Blackburn. He's very simplistic with his play. You know, makes sure his side retains possession, spreads it wide, and that is an important feature of their game. And of course, more than anything, when he does choose to go forward, again, is no frills to it. It could have whipped in an early cross there, but he's not too sure if he's going to find somebody. He comes back out to Berg, and then look, he fills the position out wide, gives himself the option then to cross the ball and sets up the 3rd goal. And certainly he's sort of a consistency this season has been very important. And of course, Wilcox there, Jason Wilcox, who come through the youth team. Look how well he tackles back. This is a feature of any wide player. Certainly Ripley does it as well for them, but he's always supporting, getting forward. And without Ripley on the right, Robbie Slater came in and did a steady job, but you know, he popped up all over the place, Wilcox. He is a good crosser of the ball, can take defenders on. He is predominantly left-footed, as you see here when he gets his cross in. But if you've got Sutton and Shearer, you've got to get certain quality crosses in, and over 90 minutes he will supply them. So you know, I think those 2 players have been very important. And of course, the first touch here for his goal, you know, made the actual finish that much simpler. And those 2 have been very important. And in a transfer week like we've had, it's important to recognise that type of player.
Absolutely. 3 more points then for Blackburn. Well, being a football manager is the easiest job in the world, of course, as long as you don't actually have to do it. One man described it as keeping the 5 players who hate you away from the 6 who are undecided. Nonetheless, there are hordes of applicants for every vacancy. George Burley jumped at the chance of taking over at Ipswich, promptly went out of the cup to Wrexham, and today faced another tough afternoon, away to Liverpool. While Michael Thomas replaced the injured John Barnes for Liverpool, Ipswich made 5 changes. Among them, that old Anfield favourite John Walk, who returned in defence. The commentator at Anfield, Tony Gubber.
Liverpool haven't conceded a goal in their last 5 matches. Indeed, it's only 1 in the last 8 as McManaman burst through on his right foot, made space for himself. First threatening moment from Liverpool, and it's really the first time that Steve McManaman has given us a demonstration of the pace which has made him so threatening this season. Neil Ruddock with a good long look up and a little gesture then which suggests that there was nothing on for him and nobody was showing, but he's found McManaman, faced by Gavin Johnson, into Rob Jones, and Forrest could only beat it away and hooked back by McManaman over the top of Bjornaby. Good save by the Ipswich keeper, and the best chance of the match so far. McManaman, he's got possession now into the penalty area, back to Jones, who had a shot a moment ago, this time left-footed, and the outcome is the same. A ball which Craig Forrest feels quite comfortably. 30 minutes gone in a game which has been played with a singular lack of urgency. Paz into Sedgley, who has Slater available. Garrett Williams wants it. Back to Sedgley. Gavin Johnson on the left if he chooses to use him. Here's Tanner. Oh, what a super strike! Adam Tanner in his 3rd game for Ipswich. An ex-trainee who's been brought into the team by the new manager George Burley, and he's stunned Anfield. And you'd have to say, well, it's not exactly been on the cards, but Ipswich have looked threatening and Liverpool have definitely been below par in this first half an hour. Back to Michael Thomas. Fowler. To corner. Bjornaby has placed the ball for the corner. A minute to go to half-time. Scales went in. This is Steve McManaman. Ruddock. They're close, Liverpool, but they haven't scored as yet. Ruddock meeting it out of the middle of the forehead, but it was always rising. Here's Bjornaby. Into Jamie Redknapp. McManaman. Good header first time to find Michael Thomas. Into Rob Jones, super save, Craig Forrest. Well, a match-winning save, and Craig Forrest knows it. There's a lot of the second half left yet, but that could be vital at the end of this match. Rob Jones was clear through, and Forrest with heroics for Ipswich. McManaman did very well to get away from Yallop, and he come over to this left side. Good left foot cross to the back post. Fowler. Here's Rob Jones, teeing it up for Jamie Redknapp. 2 yards wide. And is it to be one of those afternoons when nothing quite goes right for Liverpool? Ruddock into Rush, nicely back to Michael Thomas. Oh, he was holding Garrett Williams there, Thomas. Here's Walters into the side netting, and if that had gone in, Ipswich would have had cause for complaint. Ruddock to Rush. Redknapp, well struck, too high, and time beginning to run out for Liverpool. Unbeaten in 11 games coming into this match since the 2-0 defeat away at Everton in November. To Rush, Peels for a penalty. McManaman into Fowler, behind by Yallop, and if anybody's going to unlock the door, it'll be Steve McManaman. Fowler so close to the touch that would have got the equalising goal. George, congratulations, but how do you explain that result to the rest of football? Because that will catch everybody's eye tonight.
Yeah, it was down to hard work. We played very well as a team. Everybody was committed, and we got a little bit lucky at times. But overall, I thought the players deserved to win.
You've had 5 games now at Ipswich. What have you tried to do? How have you tried to impose yourself on the way the team play?
All I've done is try to get them to work hard for each other, be committed for the team, and do their individual jobs. And if you do that, you've always got a chance in football.
When you're playing a team second bottom, is there a danger of a bit of complacency creeping in, and maybe Liverpool thinking the game's won just by turning up?
Well, we've obviously been on the case since Wednesday. We had a good result Wednesday. We've been on the case with the lads and saying there's no easy game, and they know the score. They realise that they're not easy games, and I'm sure they don't come out on the pitch with an intent of saying it's an easy day. I just think today we just never got going. It was a difficult day. They make it more difficult by getting people behind the ball. Quite entitled to do that in the position they're in, and sometimes they get a break. And I think they've had a good day. From our point of view, we've had a poor one.
Shock result of the afternoon. Well, Spurs have been in terrific form, unbeaten in 10 games, 6 clean sheets in a row, and today they were defending another record. No other London club had beaten them so far this season. Could West Ham? Our man at Upton Park, Barry Davis.
A place in the Spurs record books awaits Ian Walker. If he can prevent West Ham United from scoring today, he would achieve a 7th clean sheet, surpassing the figure he holds with Ray Clements, who had 6 matches without conceding a goal in league football. It was at the start of 1987. But Tony Cottee will be hoping that it's true that things come in threes. He made his debut against Spurs and scored. He scored his 100th league goal, then playing for Everton against Spurs, and now stands at 99 in the league for West Ham, 7 in his second spell here. It's just one change in each side compared with last Saturday. Julian Dix is suspended, so Kenny Brown, a substitute, then starts the match. Martin Allen has been out for 10 weeks with rib and calf injuries, makes it back as far as the bench. Giga Popescu returns after a spell of flu. He replaces the injured Ronnie Rosenthal in a Spurs side unbeaten for 10 games. And that has made the Spurs fans very happy, and they're here today in greater numbers than any previous visitors with the full opening of the new North Stand at Upton Park. The smiling Brian Hill is the referee. Teams have changed round, and West Ham attack the end of the Bobby Moore stand. Handball and given against Calderwood. Michael Hughes leaves it to John Moncur. Doesn't get it long enough, away by Barnby. Bit short from Steve Potts. Captain making sure that his goalkeeper is awake, clearly. Jurgen Klinsmann, it's his 400th league game, spread over 4 countries. Brown. And again. Well, he did that very well, did Ian Walker. Matty Holmes, who was the threat. It's too strong for Martin. Not for Breaker. Moncur. I think that was intended to go wide. Moncur again. Putting the strings at the start, the former Spurs player, John Moncur. Bishop. Good strike. Swung a little bit too. And Ian Walker got his body all behind it in the end, having to adjust his position a little bit. Moncur. Good shot. Good stop. Really sprightly start from John Moncur. Good pace, good control, clean shot, just a fingertip touch. Corner too close to Walker. He's certainly at full stretch to make the save which brought the corner. Really good pace, diagonal run, clean shot. I think it was curling away a little bit, but a really good save even so. What? Conti in the middle, boys here, and scored! Well, hugely deserved on the balance of play. Dutchman's fourth of the season. And Ray Clements will keep his league record and in League and Cup share with Walker. Strong header, no chance for the goalkeeper. West Ham lead at 10:33. Cotti. Hughes. Breaker. Cotti. Nobody filling the gap behind him, a little touch. And Tottenham got away with it. Mistake was by Howells. Spurs, whose defence has been so good, having a few problems. Handball. Oh, referee said accidental. Had probably the best view in the ground of that. Gary Mabbutt was the Spurs player. Breaker. Cotti. Bishop. Would have been a season's contender. Harry Redknapp entitled to be pleased with his side, but I wonder if he's a bit concerned that they haven't added to the one goal. The wall pass with a difference. Moncur. Hughes. Moncur again. Oh, he's unlucky. Well, there were a few options. He opted to shoot from a tight angle. 2 to pull it back to, both marked. 3 in fact to put it back to, and all marked. He went for the shot instead. Popescu hasn't really got into the game at all, Jacob Popescu. Anderton. Oh, lovely. Neatly done by Holmes. Bishop, breaker outside. Foreign-Cotti down the middle. To wait for the cross, which is very well claimed. Very well held. Spurs corner. Kinsman pulls away slightly from the goal line, leaves Calderwood to go in front of McCluskey and Mabbott. Anderson will cut it in a bit. Double cover on Calderwood. Blasted over the top by Barmby. Of the curl. In comes Barmby. I don't think McCluskey would have seen it. Brown. West Ham players are wanting McCluskey to go the other way first time, and probably should have done. And here's Klinsmann. Well, in fairness to the German, it bubbled a bit for him at the last minute, and he was desperately trying to hang on to his balance. There was nobody up as he got wide of the goalkeeper. For a man of his quality, I suppose that would be put down as a chance. Oh, West Ham's half by a distance, but they only have one goal, scored by the Dutchman Boer in the 11th minute. There could, and maybe should, have been others. At half-time, it's 1-0 to West Ham. The second half gets underway, and finally the record comes to an end. Just a touch of Christmas. It was a bit late. West Ham starting where they ended the first half and getting the free kick. But maybe a telling statistic is that the goal scored by a ball from Michael Hughes' cross was their 29th in 29 matches. And the suggestion is that they're not finding the net often enough. Well met by Austin, who is then flattened. And Walker loses. Appeal for handball not given against Sheringham. Oh, well played, Moncur. What a match he's having. Free kick is given for obstruction. Austin is the player down. I understand. Alan Sugar on the left, chairman of Tottenham Hotspur, and the England manager, and his former partner, the suntan figure centre picture. Baker makes the first run. Balls to come from the back, being watched very closely by Campbell. There's a lot of shadowing going on. Oh dear, what a disappointing game from Moncur. Much ado about nothing. Sheringham in the chase. Goalkeeper stays at home. Sheringham hits the outside of the post, and a great argument goes on with Ludo McCluskey and two defenders, Martin and Brown. And one has to say that the fault was with the goalkeeper, and he could so easily be made to pay for the error. Sheringham off the outside of the post. Popescu, Sheringham, Anderson far side coming in, Bambi! Oh, one of Tottenham's better attacks for sure. Long crossfield ball to Anderton, setting up the chance for Bambi. Howes not being given the time that they were given in the first half. The West Ham midfield. Anderton. Corner. Klinsmann comes to the left post. Sheringham is in a line with the right. Played by Moncur. Anderton again. Bora. Howes. Silly challenge by the Dutchman. Free kick. Anderson to take. Mabet joins the posse forward. And the goalkeeper lost it, and Sheringham scores. I'm afraid McCluskey was so hesitant then. And the rebounds came down to Teddy Sheringham, and all West Ham's good work of the first period has been undone. 59th minute, it's all square. Sheringham, Klinsmann, Potts the cover man. Still Klinsmann. Good try. Good stop. Ball looking for the nod down, and no foul, says the referee. Call the wooden ball. Oh, here comes Anderton. In with a shooting chance. She struck really well, but the crowd's still concerned about the incident at the other end. Calderwood watching it with care. Well, if anything, the first push might have been from the West Ham player. They both fell. Referee had a good view, said no. Howes. Bambi. Klinsmann stays just onside, played on by Brown, and Spurs lead. And so soon after the penalty appeals were turned down, Klinsmann ends a 5-game scoring drought by putting Spurs ahead. Brown was the player who didn't push up, and just onside. Level, of course, now is onside, and the finish, typical Klinsmann, and the follow through. Lovely finish off the instep and into the corner. Moncur, Calderwood, who was the man involved in the incident. Popescu, Sheringham, Anderson. Spurs unrecognisable from the team that really didn't show in the first period. Bishop. Klinsmann so determined. Sheringham up with him too, coming from further back. Bambi and Anderton. Still Klinsmann. Still Klinsmann. Great block tackle by Martin Allen. Could be heard all around the ground. The run for Jerry Francis looks as though it's going to continue. Certainly the unbeaten run. And probably a 7th win in 12. What is it? Linesman isn't sure. Referee says free kick. Which is as well, because everybody was miles away from the ball. Breaker. Moncur with a chance! Walker does well. Oh, brave and very well done. Hasn't set his record, but again has played well. Played through by Breaker, and Moncur got away, and he was so quickly off his line, Walker. It's another success for Tottenham Hotspur. Jurgen Klinsmann leading the fight back in the second period. A match of contrasting halves, because Tottenham were pretty well conspicuous by their absence in the first 45 minutes. West Ham had the lead then and should have scored more, and they then helped to contribute to their own defeat. Klinsmann getting his 16th of the season to give Spurs a 2-1 victory after Sheringham had got the equaliser on the hour from a mistake by McCloskey. West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Now, Jerry, you can have a go at me if you like. I said at half-time that Spurs hadn't played yet.
I probably said the same at half-time, but in a different manner, probably, Barry. Now, I give West Ham a lot of credit. I mean, they played very, very well first half, put us under a lot of pressure. But to be fair, the way we've played to maintain our run over the 11 games was nowhere near the team that was out there in the first half. And obviously, I wasn't very pleased, to say the least. But what I am delighted with is the way we responded to half-time and came back out and won the game, which is a very difficult game. They're playing very well, and it's a tremendous result for us.
Statistics don't always prove things, but you look at the record, it says played 29, goals 29. It's not enough, is it?
No, we've struggled to score goals. I think of late we've been playing a lot better, and Joran's come in and got his few goals, so that department is looking better for us. But we've been playing well without actually getting the results, and the longer you're playing like that and not getting results, the more worrying it is. We like to feel like we've got a really good squad here now, and a squad that's well capable of staying up in this division. But we need to get some results sooner rather than later.
I mean, longer the game went on, more chances we had, more chances we created, and I think it puts us now in even in a better position. I think we are 3 points on up to Nottingham Forest. We're looking up to a place in the UEFA Cup next year. That's our aim. We want to play in Europe next year, and this was a big step forward today.
Well, 11 matches unbeaten now for Spurs, 50-1 for the championship. Under Ossie Ardiles, it was all-out attack, of course. 29 goals scored, but 33 conceded. Since Jerry Francis arrived, only 9 goals conceded, and just today's goal in the last 7 matches. Well, Trevor, he certainly turned things around today. It wasn't just a question of balling the players out, was it? Tactically, what happened?
Well, I mean, first half West Ham did play exceptionally well, but the second half he pushed up the whole team as a unit, more to get the midfield much closer. I mean, Moncur was outstanding for West Ham, me and Bishop. They're good passers, you can't give them time and space, which Spurs did in the first half. The second half they didn't, they hustled them that much more. And of course, unfortunately, they were helped also by some indecisive moments from the goalkeeper of West Ham's, Liverpool McCloskey, who's been a great keeper for the club. But here, early in the second half, that misunderstanding between Kenny Brown and him, and actually Teddy Sheringham, from that angle, you'd normally expect him to squeeze it in. So the warning signals were there, and I think that made him a little bit hesitant for that sort of punch, which was never a punch, and it just dropped kindly for Sheringham. In the end, of course, this one, was it offside? It wasn't. As Barnby heads it, you can see Kenny Brown at the top of the pitch are definitely playing him on. And then, to be harsh again, I think from here, Liverpool McCloskey, if he stands up, makes it more difficult. He goes down early, makes it easier for Klinsmann, and probably, as I say, that sums up about 45 minutes for him. I think, you know, when you're 1-1, you've got to make the forward do something rather than commit yourself early like Ludek did there.
Your old team looking good in the first half, though. Well, now the goals from the other games, beginning with another of the clubs who spent a few bob this week, Arsenal. They were home to Everton.
George Graham restricted Chris Kiwomya to an appearance on the substitutes bench, but the other Arsenal new boy, John Hartson, played from the start against Everton and played well too. Ian Wright showed his new teenage partner the ropes with a goal in 4 minutes, hungrily gobbled up from David Hillier's fine pass. Wright's delight tempered by another senseless booking later in the day. That's 20 goals now. Arsenal really can't afford to be without him. Everton captain Dave Watson has always been one of their most valued performers, but 25-yard equalisers with his left foot have never exactly been the centre-half speciality. Afterwards he said cheerfully, "I've been playing 15 years and it's only today I've realised that I'm left-footed." That was the end of the scoring, but not the story. Everton striker Duncan Ferguson, hustled by John Jensen, lost his cool. Off the ball, words were exchanged, then Ferguson angrily pushed Jensen to the ground. Ref Rob Hart had a front-row view, and Ferguson was on his way with 35 minutes plus still to play. He already has serious disciplinary charges to answer north of the border and now faces a 3-match suspension here. Joe Royle took an old-fashioned centre-forwards perspective.
By the letter of the law, the referee has been right on top of it and sent him off. I would think that 10, 15 years ago we would have finished with 6 aside if we'd have applied the laws that way, but nevertheless he's pushed the geezer and he's got to go.
An early altercation at Villa Park involved players from the same side, but once Villa's Mark Bosnich and Sean Teal finally decided who was going to take the free kick, Villa took the lead. It was Teal that played the ball forward, and John Fashinu's frustrating season took a turn for the better. Only his second goal this term came after 6 minutes. But after a second-half clash, Fash took a bash in the mouth and made a dash to London for urgent dental treatment. A few other scares came Villa's way. Rangers' Kevin Gallen hit the post twice, but when defender Ugo Ekiog hit the net with a thumping header after 76 minutes, Villa's victory looked secure. Rangers salvaged faint hope when they pulled a goal back with 2 minutes to go. Steve Yates scored after Kevin Gallen had hit the bar. This was only the second win in 9 attempts of Villa boss Brian Little, but every point is precious.
Sheffield Wednesday heading steadily up, Chelsea slipping down. They haven't won a Premiership game at Stamford Bridge since October. But John Sheridan's first half penalty miss for Wednesday was followed within 10 minutes by an outstanding Chelsea goal. Peacock and Steen weaving the pretty patterns, John Spencer smashing home gleefully. It was a game of ifs and buts. If Gavin Peacock had made it 2 before half-time, if Kevin Pressman hadn't been quite so alert, maybe Chelsea would have won well. But if Chris Waddle had made the most of a clear chance to equalise earlier, perhaps Wednesday could have cleaned up. As it was, much to Glenn Hoddle's bewilderment, a full 4.5 minutes of stoppage time had ticked by before substitute Dan Petrescu picked out Ian Nolan, who squared the match. A month has now passed since Wednesday were last beaten.
Many Norwich fans started the day concerned that striker Mark Robbins is to be sold to Leicester, and another striker who's moved on from Carrow Road broke their hearts today. Although things started well for Norwich, Jeremy Goss fired them ahead midway through the first half. But back came the Dons. Andy Clark set up an equaliser for Alan Reeves 20 seconds before half-time. And 4 minutes into the second half, Norwich expected a Vinnie Jones long throw. It went short to Alan Kimball. Norwich old boy Efan Akuku headed a Wimbledon winner. He did the same at Selhurst Park last October.
It's always nice to score against one of your former teams, and it was nice to get the winning goal again, you know, second time this season, and just important to get 3 points. It shifts us up another couple of places.
Remember the 5th of November, the date of Crystal Palace's last league goal. Until 24 minutes past 3 today, that is. No inhibitions about Ricky Newman's volley. Mind you, after a flood of Palace Cup goals in the last week, Leicester must have been fearing the worst. Just before half-time, their fears were confirmed when George Ndar was ushered forward to score his first Premiership goal. Mark McGee still waiting for his first Premiership win. Alan Smith's wait for Palace goals is over.
Ndar and Newman, two people who don't get a lot of publicity, played outstandingly well. And it's strange, this business, you know, you pick up the paper, you read about the same people every time. The two that have won us the points today, two unknowns, but two very good players.
Chris Armstrong's definitely staying.
Chris Armstrong is definitely staying at this football club, along with the other players that I've got.
Coventry returned home from Main Road, Manchester, muttering about whether they should have had a first-half penalty. Peter Unlove turned inside Keith Curl. Opinion was split as to whether this was a trip. The referee's verdict was no. aiming to bounce back from their Coca-Cola Cup exit in midweek. City missed chances, and they're grateful for goalkeeper Andy Dibble's double save from Dublin and Flynn, although had Coventry scored, they might have looked for an offside flag. 0-0 at Main Road.
Goalless at Ellen Road 2. Leeds United have gone 4 league games without scoring now, and if Matt Le Tissier had been himself in front of goal, it could have been worse for them. Leeds fans are hoping that the Ghanaian Tony Yeboah will soon be snaffling up chances on their behalf. His work permit should come through early next week. Leeds are in need of a lift.
Now the table, Blackburn's lead over Manchester United,